All right. The current state of financial affairs under COVID. I'm going to talk about a little bit in this video about the fractional reserve lending, how it's used to back the green piece of paper in your wallet. And then I'm going to segue into the cryptocurrency market and end with a little sales pitch of the Anatha token, which I believe to be life-changing. So anyways, let's get into it. Green piece of paper, right? It's the dollar. Everybody calls it the dollar. It's not a dollar. It's actually a promissory note. And we can talk about that a little later. But the dollar, where does it come from? What is it backed by? Right? Well, if you're like 1/3 of Americans, you probably still think that the dollar is backed by gold. Probably held up somewhere like Fort Knox. And that's totally wrong. Absolutely incorrect. We abandoned the gold standard all the way back in 1933, right around the time of the Great Depression. Okay. So, what is the dollar backed by? Well, that's where we get into the fractional reserve lending. And I'm not going to get too heavy into this stuff because it's a lot to comprehend, but just real simple. It's basically banks with credit. Banks have loaned out money on a credit system. So the ATM that you go and you withdraw money out is just credit. Okay? So banks are required to keep on hand and available for withdrawal a certain amount of cash that depositors give them. If someone deposits $100, the bank can't lend out that entire amount. Right? So banks typically only required to keep a fraction of the initial deposit amount on hand. Most are required to keep 10% of the deposit, referred to as reserves. And this is how our money is valued under the current debt system. The dollar is pegged to reserve values set by an interest rate determined by the Federal Reserve. A promise to pay, or promissory note, right? So our green money is backed by your signature. When you go to the bank, you sign the loan for a house, you sign the loan for a car, you sign for your credit card payment. All that money is lent to you with your promise to pay backed by your labor, right? Credit. And the money that's generated from that is typically through fees and interest and a whole bunch of other mechanisms that I just wanted to save some time. So now you got a gist of it. All right. The next part is decentralized finance, right? Cryptocurrency. So what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a peer-to-peer revolutionary system that is designed to cut out the fees and the interest that the bankers would earn, right? So instead of the bankers getting paid for the interest that they loan out their money on, or the fees that the credit card companies collect through the transactions when you go and swipe at the terminal, the middleman is the miners, which are basically just individual people or giant server farms that process transactions. So it's just like a big computer data bank processing center that when you go and you use the crypto, it runs it through these miners, synchronizes in real time so that the transactions appear on the blockchain, all synchronized, right? So nobody can get cheated out of money. So just going to go over some of the struggles with what I've noticed to be the problems with the current two cryptocurrencies right now, which is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Ethereum and Bitcoin run under a protocol that is called Proof of Work Protocol, or POW. So basically, that system rewards the miner for doing the work of keeping the ledger, accurate, instead of the credit card companies. The addresses are really long and pretty much impossible to memorize. Okay, and the other thing is that mining has been bottlenecked by the industry, by the tech industry rather, who currently control the market with, price of processors and all that stuff. So I want to talk about Anatha. Anatha, it's a great token. So Anatha, it does not use the same kind of mining that Bitcoin and Ethereum use. Instead, it uses a central node service, which is provided for with the users just using the currency. And so what that does is it eliminates the miners getting paid and actually just kind of recycles the funding back into the ecosystem and pays the users instead. So it's a pretty unique system. These guys, they have the idea of cutting out the miners, cutting out the transaction middleman guys, and just paying profit shares to the individual user. So it's gonna solve on so many levels. The banker mafia, and it's gonna give the power back to the people, right? That's what we want. It's community driven, and it's got a potential to reach a target audience of billions of people who do not have access to any banking of any kind, and it solves the problem of energy consumption. The miners mass consume energy, and it's very hard for people to set up in a remote country to be able to mine coins like Ethereum and Bitcoin. So it solves all those problems. So I'm just going to end the broadcast with a quick little synopsis of an analogy to think about, right? So I imagine that you're probably watching this on your phone. You probably pay for your phone every month. You have a phone number that you can recognize, remember, and you can give out to people to contact you, right? So instead of a phone number, imagine that you had a address. And this address was easy to remember, just like your phone number. And instead of paying for this address would pay you, passive income, whatever it is, $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever this coin achieves for value. It really, the sky's the limit here. But let's just say that this human readable address, which is an HRA, you choose, and you remember, and you're able to give it out, as you're walking around the street without having to whip out your fancy crypto wallet and spew out 300 letters and numbers. So anybody can pay you. It's easy to exchange value face to face with somebody on the street, and it provides you passive income and allows you to also talk with your friends and family. This coin is going to try to create a chat service with these addresses, so you'll be able to do all the same stuff that you do with your cell phone. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to give you the update on the newest features of what I've been noticing during COVID, and the new coin, Anatha, which I believe is going to be taken off here in a little bit. They just released about 5 months ago, and yeah, go ahead and check it out. I'm telling you, it's gonna blow up. It's gonna be huge. These guys have a purpose, and they're community driven to solve the current global financial slavery that we're all into, right? Okay, thanks for listening. Take care.